This is going to be the lateral and total surface area notes for 7th grade. What we're going to be doing primarily is we are going to be looking at 3D figures and looking at their nets. So looking at this right here, I'm going to start out with the name of the shape. This is a rectangular prism. And just in case you're not sure about that, you can always look at the base. The base is already shaded here for us. And because it's a rectangle and because it has two bases, the other one you can't see on the opposite side, we know that it's going to be a rectangular prism because there are two bases. This over here is just the net of it. You can see the two shaded bases on it. This would fold up together to create the 3D image that we have. What we are going to be doing is we are going to be finding two different things. We are going to be finding the total surface area, meaning the area of this entire figure, and we're also going to be doing the lateral surface area, therefore meaning the label. Like if we wanted to know just the lateral surface area, we would look at everything or all of the areas other than the bases. So pretty much if we were doing lateral, I would not include this base and I would not include this base. But for now, I'm going to keep those gone, and we're just going to look at one piece at a time first. So formulas that we are going to need. Well, looking over here, every one of these shapes is just a rectangle. And so to solve for a rectangle, to find the area of a rectangle, we're going to do area equals base times height. So the easiest way to go at this is just to figure out the area of each one of these sections. So I'm going to look at this large rectangle here. I'm going to start the rectangle I'm working on. So this rectangle, the height is going to be 10, but I need to figure out this length right here. Actually, I'm going to highlight the top one first. I'm going to highlight that one there. So I need to do 10 times whatever that number there is. Well, I'm going to have to find another side length that matches that. The other side length that match, this is going to be kind of careful. This is kind of difficult if I can't show you in person, but I know that these side lengths all match that 4. Because if I were to fold this shape up together, they would line up with those sides right there. So I know that this rectangle here is going to be a 10 by 4 rectangle. And if I'm doing base times height, I'm going to be doing 4 times 10. So the area of this shape here is 40. And again, I'm going to continue matching that red side of 10. So this side is 10, this side is 10, this side is 10, and this side is 10. Well, I can see that my red by blue is going to be that area of 40 right here. So I know that this one is also an area of 40, because if I were to fold this shape up, those two sides would be parallel with one another. Now I've got to look at I'm going to look at the next rectangle over. And I can see that this is going to be a 10 by 2 rectangle. So this side is 2, so this is a 10 by 2 rectangle. So again, doing base times height, and I'd be doing 2 times 10. So my area of this shape would be 20, making this one over here also an area of 20. That's my other yellow side over there. So I've got one more side that I've got to work with. These other two rectangles here. So I can see that I've already got a 4 right here, but now I have to figure out this length right here. Well, I can see that that yellow and that green are going to match up together, so I know that this side is also 2, making these other ones also 2. So for this rectangle here, we're going to be doing a 4 times 2 for our area and our base, or sorry, our height and our base. And we get an area of 8, making this one also 8. So now I have the area of each one of these parts. So if I wanted the total surface area, I'm going to add each one of these numbers up. I'm going to add my 40s. I'm going to add the 20s that I have there. And we're going to add those 2 8s. I'm going to add all of these up. I would get a total surface area of 136. I did mark units on this, so this is technically units squared, because I didn't put feet, inches, or anything else on this. So our total surface area over here is going to be 136. I'm not going to bother marking the units squared right now. Actually, we'll just do u squared. My lateral surface area is everything other than my 2 bases. So if I want my lateral surface area, I'm going to take that 136 and I'm going to take away my 2 bases. Well, the bases are what are shaded in gray, so I'm going to take away the 20 and the other 20. So 136 minus 20 and minus the other 20 is going to leave us with 96 units squared. So my lateral surface area is 96 units squared. So I'm going to leave the other rectangular prisms for you, but now I'm going to take a look at some of the triangular prisms. Again, we are going to be dealing with what appears to be a right triangular prism. And here's the net for us. The sides primarily are already marked, so I know that this side is 7, making all of these lengths right here also 7. Some of these other parts are going to be harder to see, so I'm going to mark those real quick so I don't lose track of those. And then here's my 4, and if I know that that is 4, I know that this is also 4 right here. So I have those two 4s there, and the opposite sides would also be 4s. Right now I'm just trying to mark all my sides because then I can go through and find all of my areas. I know that this part here, if this is 3, I know that this is also 3. And this last part here gets a little difficult to see. I know that this is 5, but I know when this folds up, it's going to match this side over here. And I know the opposite side of the triangle will also match. So those two will also be 5. So now I have everything that I need. And again, my right angle is going to be right here. So those will be my base and my height for my triangles. And actually, I forgot to mention the name of the shape. We already talked about it, but this is going to be a triangular prism. The formulas that we are going to need for the rectangle part, we are going to need to know base times height. And for the triangular part, we are going to have to know base times height divided by 2. So those are the parts that we are going to be doing whenever we're working through this thing. So again, here on each one of these, we are just going to be doing base times height. And then on the triangles, we'll do base times height divided by 2. So I'm going to work out one triangle at a time. One rectangle at a time. I'm going to start with that top one. That is a 5 by 7 rectangle. So 5 times 7 is 35. The one in the middle is a 3 by 7 rectangle, making it 21. The bottom one is a 4 by 7, making it 28. The rectangle on the right and the rectangle on the left are the same. I'm going to work this one a little bit outside of it. This is I got to look at the 90-degree angle. So this is a 3 by 4 triangle. So I'm going to be doing 3 times 4 divided by 2. 3 times 4 is 12, and divided by 2 is 6. I now know the areas of both of these triangles. So for the total surface area, I have to add each one of these parts. I'm going to add the 35, the 21, and the 28, and both of the 6s. Those up, I get a total area of 96 units squared. And again, if I want just the lateral surface area, actually, let me mark this over here real quick before I forget it. That'll be the 96 units squared. Now for the lateral surface area, again, we are talking about everything other than the base. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my 96 for my total surface area, and I'm going to take away both of the triangles. I'm going to take away that first 6 and that second 6. So when I do 96 minus 6 and minus another 6, I'll be left with 84 units. So again, my lateral surface area over here is going to be 84 units squared. I'm going to do one more of these shapes with you guys. And so this, looking over here, this is a rectangular pyramid. And I know that because I can look at the base on it. It's technically a square pyramid because both of those side lengths on that square are the same. But I'm going to be kind of general with it. I'm going to call it a rectangular pyramid. Now, the formulas that I'm going to need for this, I've got two different shapes to work with. I have a triangle and I have a square. So for my area of the square, it's just going to be base times height. And for my area of the triangle, that's going to be base times height divided by 2. Now I'm going to go through and I'm going to work through each one of these parts. So I know that all of these sides right here are going to be 6 because it's a square. So I'm going to just get all of those marked for myself. And the only other thing that I'm going to need is the height of the triangle, which is also marked. So that one's going to be by 4, and all of these will also be by 4. So I'm going to let's start with the triangle, or the square, because that's easy. This is going to be a 6 by 6 square, so there's going to be an area of 36 for the square. The area of this triangle is going to be base times height divided by 2. So my base on that triangle is 6, the height is 4, and I have to divide by 2. 6 times 4 is 24, and then half of 24 is 12. So now I know the areas of each one of these. These are all 12. So again, for my total surface area, I'm going to add the 12, 12, the 12, the 12, and that 36, that red 36 that's there. I'll put that one up top. When I add all these up, I get a total surface area of 84 units squared. So total surface area is 84 units squared. Now again, for my lateral surface area, I'm going to take my total surface area, and I'm going to take away the base, which is 36. And when I do 84 minus 36, I'm left with 48 units squared. So my lateral surface area is 48 units squared. The rest of these are very similar. If you guys have questions, make sure that you're asking.